All right. Adam's here. Clayton. Oh, he was going to be going for a wedding. Caitlin. Clay's excuse today. Luke Coleman. Rachel. Corsi. Duffield. Elijah. Jackson. Ilea. Ty. Kelly. Maynard. Well, some people insist that they're not going to get an A. His attendance is 10% of the grade. McCune. Reese. Maddie. If Maddie's in your group, I think it's group Zeben. She dropped the class. She let me know. But for now, Mendez, she's in your group. I think Andrea, you're the other group. Solomon, Nash, Atticus, Sydney, Skaggs is excused. Come on. Thomas Luke is excused. Tucci. Oh, she a golf player? They may be in a golf tournament. Kari is excused today. Webb, West, and Beatrice is also excused. All right. If you go to Blackboard, I put in the last file we used on the March 5 lecture, and I'm going to start with that. And you should feel lucky because in this spring break, I'm going to make that goal seek thing as easy to use as, not goal seek, solver, as easy to use as goal seek template I have. But it requires a lot more coding than the little goal seek thing. So I need a spring break for that. In fact, I'm thinking about publishing that in the Journal of Financial Education. So after a kind of sleepy time, I'm back to my research. So that I can get promoted. I normally don't care what my rank is. I mean, I don't even ask them to put doctor on my door. They keep doing it. I say, just put my name because the title doesn't make a man or a woman. Okay. I've heard people, there used to be a professor who was teaching law. She was a lawyer. She had a JD degree. And somebody called her Mrs. Spain. She says, you have to call me Dr. Spain. I have a JD. Okay. I've seen a lot of PhDs who are not worth that title. I've seen a lot of high school graduates that were smarter than PhDs. The title is meaningless. All right. Well, just to recap, last time we kind of did a rough version of this minimum variance boundary. That line is if you pick any return, expected return, and if you go to the line, it tells you what sort of risk the minimum variance portfolio would have. Okay, that's the least you can have. Anything on the downward sloping part of that minimum variance boundary is inefficient because all I have to do is from any point just go up without increasing my risk, I'm getting better return. Similarly, anything inside that boundary is inefficient. All I have to do is move north and west. And I can improve. Anything outside or to the left of that line are portfolios or are combinations of risk and reward that are not feasible. It doesn't matter what you do, you cannot attain those. So anything on the upward sloping parts are feasible portfolios that are efficient. Why? Because if I move to any direction, pick any point on this line, move to any direction, you're going to hit either an infeasible region or you're going to hit an inefficient portfolio. I mean, you can only go inside or outside, right? But if you move along the line, you're trading off return for risk. That means you can't dominate it. That part is actually what's called, is the reason why we keep saying, in order to earn higher returns, you have to be bearing higher risk. This is essentially a graphical proof of that. Now, one thing we haven't thought too much about this is, we haven't thought about different measures of reward and risk, which I'm going to leave it to you when you guys do the homework assignment. For example, you may want to look at portfolios that have lowest tail risk. Have you guys, I talked about it in Finance 420. Have you guys heard of something called value at risk? It's kind of a risk management tool. It's very useful when you're, for example, trying to determine trading limits on a trading floor. You tell your traders, okay, you can buy and sell whatever you want within reason. You can give them parameters, you can't buy penny stocks and that sort of stuff. But you cannot have a portfolio that could lose more than a certain amount with a probability that is 95% or higher. Okay? It's typically a relatively low number, or relatively high number, but that way with some probability what's the maximum you can lose. If your trader exceeds their VAR limits, you fire them. And those are very important in terms of instilling a discipline. Back in 98, summer of 98, I was working for Donaldson, Lufkin and Jenrette, which was a American investment bank. They were kind of the cannibals of the investment banks. Pretty much anything went in that stuff. Nobody asked you if you took a wild risk, why you took that risk, as long as you were within your limits. Okay? And we had a string of limits because we did a lot of stuff with derivatives. We had how much you could lose in one day, how much you could lose in 1 week, and based on VARs and stuff, and you have to be inside all of those. August 98, Russia defaulted on their loans, on their foreign currency or non-ruble denominated loans. They didn't call it a default. They called it a moratorium on foreign currency payments. They basically said, yes, I know I owe you dollars, but if you want to be paid in rubles, I'll pay you in rubles. Because nobody wanted that. And, and the night before this was going to be announced on a Monday morning in London, our economist was kind of connected in Russia.